Hi, happy Sunday, or just for those of us who are in the throes of fall break, which goes over the weekend. Happy just another day where the kids are going to be home all day today and tomorrow too. I hope you've had as many snuggles as we've had. It's been cold here in Denver, unseasonably so, but when it is colder than usual, that makes the running a little bit better than usual because it's easier than usual. You see, when your body is not trying to cool itself off because you're in direct sunlight, everything gets a little bit easier unless you decide to run up hills. So I'm Coach MK with the Fitness Protection Program, and I've got a few good questions tonight. But first, before we get into that, I want to do some shout outs because we had a whole lot of racing amazingness this weekend. Big congratulations to Karen Schluter, who came in first in her age group in a half marathon that she ran on Saturday. That was amazing. So proud of you, Karen. Also, congratulations to Helen Foley, who blew her own damn mind in a last minute 10K that she decided to race today. She said that the cruise work from September and October just felt so good. She wanted to see if she could hold on to that, and she did. Congratulations, Helen. Congratulations to Amy Wilson, who has not been real excited with her training as of late. She is works on the front lines of healthcare and in rural New Hampshire, and a lot has been getting in her way. Not to mention having a senior in high school, and those guys are busy. But she showed up and did really well at the Mount Desert Island half marathon, which if you're not familiar with MDI, it's one of the hilliest, like literally it is in, I have this blog post that I wrote, data points in hilly marathons, and the quintessential hilly marathon, one of the hilliest and one of the most beautiful, but definitely one of the hardest in the country, is Mount Desert Island. And Amy just showed up and was like, whatever, let's do the half, YOLO. And she did it. Well done, Amy. I know we had another one, and my brain just went blank. And I hate when that happens in the live stream. You can see them all. Whenever you race, you guys, remember to tag me on Instagram and let us know that we can use these photos, that we can use your photos and shout you out as well, because, you know, love was absolutely meant to be shared. Amy, those are three. I know there's another. I can't find the fourth, but that's fine. It is what it is. So congratulations to everybody who raced this weekend. Put a comment if it's you who I left out. Please don't take it personally. It's just the fact that it's a 7-day weekend here with fall break and parent-teacher conferences, and I'm a little tired. So the questions tonight all have to do with hills. The first one, Coach MK, I've had trouble getting back into my running stride, and I'm thinking that maybe a couple of harder workouts would be inspiring. Should I start with hill repeats? No, please, no, don't do that. Hill repeats are hard. And I know that I'm the person who usually comes on here and says, like, please don't do hard things. And that's not because I don't believe in you or that I don't love you or that I don't know how to do my job. There's something about timing. And if feeling bad is what's motivating for you, that's something we really need to talk about in office hours, because that's kind of the opposite of the way I encourage people to do things here. But when it comes to hills, like, yes, hill repeats are a staple in marathon training plans for a reason. And that reason is that the people who wrote these plans are never going to see you, touch you, or interact with you in any way. I will. And theoretically, yes, they're a great workout. They will make you stronger if you are strong enough to do the workout. What I mean by that is it takes a whole lot of glute work, not just the big glutes, but the little glutes on the sides. It takes a lot of glute work to execute a successful hill repeat. You also need to have very strong ankles, because think about every time your heel is striking the ground, you're propelling your body forward. And that ankle has got to stabilize really well. You're probably doing hill repeats on grass, on ground, which means that ground is not going to be real stable, hence the need for strong ankles. I've only seen a few people do hill repeats on concrete or on asphalt, but most of us are doing them on hills. So again, there's a lot that goes into it. And if you don't have the strength required to execute that workout well, and which is something I care about. And if you are where you say you are, which you're coming back into developing a habit, let's assume you don't have that strength yet. What you're going to be doing is tearing up your knees and tearing up your ankles, asking them to absorb shock that was intended for your quads and your glutes. It's not going to make you stronger. It's definitely going to make you feel bad, but it's going to hurt your body in a way that I can't say for sure will lead to improved performance in any way. What I would recommend you do is what I do. And that's when I see a hill, I consciously slow down. And part of the reason for that is this. If you're going that much more slowly, yes, your calves are going to be doing more work, but your form's going to be better. You're going to be spending more time on that hill, and hills do require more output. So even if you're going more slowly, you're using an entirely different kinetic chain. You're going to be spending more time building up those little glutes, the big glutes, stabilizing with your quads. And again, if you're running really slowly up a hill, if you're just doing what I do, I just find those hills on Wash Park and I'll just jog up really slowly, sail down more quickly because it feels good. Jog up really slowly, sail down quickly. And again, the reason for that is when we sail down quickly, it's just after going up so slowly, it feels really good to get your legs moving more quickly. And you can do that with less energy. It's a lot more efficient. You're going to be working with gravity instead of fighting it. And that's going to give you that. Everybody wants to do really hard speed workouts all the time. We can simulate what you would get from a track by running downhill or jogging downhill in a really controlled way. You're going to be going faster than you would normally go on flat ground or at heart rate. And so you're going to get that turnover. You're going to get that neuromuscular reaction, stimulation that does lead to speed without putting any strain on your body. So what I would have you do, and again, I know doesn't sound sexy or fun, but very little of what I recommend is sexy or fun, as I'm sure you've noticed as I sit here in my pajamas because I've been in bed all afternoon. Yay for snuggles. But the unsexy stuff is what really leads to strength in the long term. It's the unsexy stuff is why Amy Wilson's able to show up and just run MDI, one of the hilliest races in the country. It's because when we maintain the way that we do, again, we're not putting any wear and tear on our bodies. We're not wasting energy in any conceivable way. So if I were you, I would ask you to do what I do. Jog up really slowly. And then if you want to race down quickly, fine. But don't exert yourself, right? You're going to be faster no matter what. You don't have to sprint downhill. You can just go extra slow and conscientiously go extra slowly going up the hill and then do whatever you want going back down the hill. That's what I would do. I would also make it a longer hill. Try to work those hills into an easy effort run rather than going and isolating and just running up and down. Again, there's a time and a place for that. And if we're trying to get back into a habit, it's hard to do. So in my workout today, I was trying to do that. But the thing is, when I'm stronger, I've always loved hills. I'm the person who, as soon as my muscles feel work, I'm like, I want to do more of that. So it is really extra hard for me to slow down on a hill because I'm finally getting stronger. My body is finally responding to workouts in a really positive way. So I find myself like I slow down to run up the hill. And then I try to focus, and before I know it, I'm running faster than I was before I hit the hill. And, it's a good problem to have. Like, hey, what do I do with all this strength? But it's not what we're going for. And I'm really tired. It's part of the reason I decided to spend the rest of the afternoon in bed doing cuddles, because it is, I had fun and I liked it, but I wiped myself out, wore myself out for no good reason. So I tell you that to tell you this. I'm in a pretty good place where my habit is every other day or every 2 days. Like, I know the next run is going to happen. If it isn't tomorrow, it will. There's no longer a question mark in my brain. How long will it be before I feel good enough that I can attempt to do this again? If that is not the question in your mind right now, then we need to think about other things. If you want some fun, fancy workouts, burpees up a hill, classic. I guarantee you no one else is doing that wherever you are. And if it's cold and you have to put on gloves, but there's no ice on the ground yet, all the more reason to go. That's going to get you hella strength. Or just doing long jumps up a hill. that you would normally be running up. That can be really great for you too. It requires a whole lot of speed, a whole lot of strength. And because you aren't using only one ankle at a time, where you could be using bad mechanics and overcompensating for weaker muscle groups. By doing that full body jumping, long jumps up a hill, it's just going to be hard. So if you really want to do something hard that's going to get you somewhere, let's make it that and not hill repeats. Okay. And remember, there is no shame and there's nothing wrong. It is just as beneficial to go slowly up a hill, because every minute that you spend or every second that you spend going up a hill, doesn't matter how the pace that you're going. It doesn't matter how much output you're generating. It's harder work. You are going to be building muscle. So there's no reason we don't have to max ourselves out in order to get what we want. So I'd say let's avoid that. Second one, very similar. What is going on with you people? What questions are you having? What conversations are you having online that I'm missing? Dear coach, I'm thinking that it's time to sign up for a race again. Is now a time when I'm not as fit as I want to be to attempt the Hilly marathon that I've always wanted to do, but was afraid to do because I knew I would have a crappy time. Why not? I mean, I actually don't hate that logic. I really don't. What I would recommend, though, is just because if we accept that it's harder, a lot of the times people are like, oh, it's a downhill race, it's going to be so easy. It's like, it'd be easy if you're rolling downhill in a barrel. We actually need more glute strength to offset, to make sure we're not quad dominant when we're doing a downhill race. And that same logic applies. Well, I know I'm not going to be really fast, so I can just relax and enjoy this super hard. I'm guessing you're the Big Sur. Big Sur should have opened already, though. Let me know what race you're talking about. I'm curious. Because MDI just happened and Big Sur, like I said, I don't think the drop is opened yet for it. But yeah, I would say if you're not as fit as you want to be, now is not a bad time at all to do that hard race where you're not going to have it's definitely not going to be a PR. So let's go do it now. The thing that I would caution against, though, and on top of making sure that you get on your booty on a Bosu ball, spend a lot of time on it barefoot, and make sure that you have lots and lots and lots of glute strength going in, would also be the reminder that there is a point past which things just aren't fun anymore for a lot of people. And I'm not telling you, I know what that number is for me. It's 5 hours of any singular activity to me is a marathon. And I don't really have any interest in it, whether it's, and I mean it, if we're binging something on Netflix, I can't do it for more than 5 hours. If we're going on a hike, no more than 5 hours. A sporting event, even if I'm just watching, forget it. Like my husband and his rugby, it's like those games are always 3 hours long, and then it takes an hour to get there and an hour to get back. And I'm just like, nope, before we even start. Nope. No offense to my husband. I know he loves his rugby, but they're never in convenient locations, and those games are fucking long. So the amount of time it takes to execute a 90-minute match is just unbelievable. So I tell you that to tell you this. Whatever you think you could do a marathon in right now, if it's a very hilly race, let's go ahead and add about 20% to that figure. If that figure is beyond a period of time that doesn't sound daunting to you, maybe we reconsider. Just something to think about. So just because it's not what if we can go into this, it is an opportunity to go into this and not have time pressure. But that doesn't mean it'll be fun. So let's think about it a little bit and find that happy balance. So again, for me, 5 hours, and again, if I'm not saying like, oh no, anyone run a marathon takes more than 5 hours. What I'm saying is I will not, if it's going to take me more than 5 hours, I don't want to. So until I'm in a place where I think I'm pretty certain I'm going to be racing that marathon under 5 hours, I'm not going to do it, because 5 hours is where I tap out. Think about what your number is. And don't think about the cutoff of the race. I don't care about that. And I really hope you don't either. But do think about like what your personal cutoff is for fun, where you're like, I just don't want to do this anymore. If it's 7 hours, whether it's 7 hours or 9 hours, doesn't matter. But do think about, where am I now? What could I reasonably expect to do in a marathon? Add 20% for really hilly. Does this still fall within the range of what I think could be a fun day? then yes, by all means, go for it. Because I tell you what, if it's Big Sur that you're thinking about, again, I'll wish I could Google this right now, but if it's Big Sur that you're thinking about, don't forget, go and look at my course report on the blog. The camber of the road, and remember, like a road is flat, camber is when it's like this. The roads from mile 16 to around mile 21 are really seriously cambered. We're talking like 30 degrees of camber. It's hard for really fit people. If you're already a little sore and a little tired after you get there, it's just going to destroy you and nothing's going to be fun. I know, because I've done it. I did the 21 miler and was like, I don't know. I just had a baby. My joints were still a little sore. They're still a little loose. It took forever. Like, this wasn't even a pleasant long run. It was a miserable experience for me. I would like to go back at some point and have a good day. It's a Big Sur, but it's not going to be this year. But being that person who's had a really bad day, I strongly advise everyone to consider the possibility that it could be a really bad day, and then say, what could it take to make this fun? I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer. If you want to register, go ahead and register. But let's think about, that limit. And if it exists, let's honor it. Because if we've got a lot of time. Again, I'm just going to operate on the assumption that it's Big Sur. We've got until like March. If you get in now, let's see how it goes. Go ahead and just drop in the lottery, see if you get in. And you've got 4 or 5 months before you have to declare that you aren't running it, that you're deferring, or that you're going to DNF. So with that in mind, like, why not throw your name in the ring? Let's see how the winter goes and take your time. Consider it an option, not an obligation. I used to work in finance. An option has value until exercised or expired. So, the option to run can be a really powerful thing. Having that on the calendar can be maybe what makes you more likely to work out or get your run done early in the morning, in the winter, and when it's cold and it's dark outside, than it would under other circumstances, especially if this is a race you're excited about. There's every reason in the world to do this. I just really want you to be aware of and thinking about, as that date gets closer, that you're in office hours and we're talking about it, because there's no point in doing something that's going to make you miserable. And if we find a new way of being demoralized and demotivated at the race, I would like to just sort of like hash some of that out before you get there. Again, no one should ever have a bad race day. I don't want that for anyone. But the way that we mitigate that is by talking about the possibilities. So congratulations, though, on being in a place where you think you're ready to sign up for a marathon. I'm not, and I don't know when it will be, but I'm not putting any pressure on myself to do that. It'll be a while before I feel like racing again. But I got to say, it is really inspiring to watch everyone just wake up and say, hey, I'm going to do this 10K. Let's go. That's amazing. There's power in that. It's super cool. That's all the questions really that we had for this week. You're coached. You are loved. Welcome to October. I hope your fall break is amazing. I know that no matter what happens, you're winning at life. See you next week.